10 X-Files episodes based on true stories. Aliens, monsters, psychic visions. You'd think the X-Files made it all up. But some of the show's strangest episodes were actually based on real-life events. Government experiments, ancient legends, even unsolved crimes. Turns out, behind the fiction are case files, tabloid clippings, and eyewitness accounts that are just a little too familiar. What looked like entertainment might have been a warning we didn't see coming. And yes, that means even the liver-eating guy might have roots in reality. Because sometimes the truth isn't out there. It already happened. You just didn't know where to look.
30-year hibernation.
Where would he go?
Where he's gone for the last 90 years.
1. Tombs, Season 1, Episode 21. A man who sleeps for 30 years, eats human livers, and slides through air vents like Jell-O with bones. That's Eugene Toombs. And while he's obviously fictional, the idea of him comes from very real fears. The X-Files writers took inspiration from Albert Fish, a horrifying real-life killer from the 1920s who claimed supernatural abilities and had an obsession with organs. Then there's the physical part, Toombs' contortionist tricks. Those were based on actual criminals who could fit through impossibly small spaces. Burglars, escape artists, even one who could squeeze through a mail slot. The scariest part? Toombs isn't some demon. He's quiet, patient, and invisible until it's too late. And that taps into a real fear we all have. Someone getting into our home, unnoticed. Suddenly, locking your windows doesn't feel good enough. He might be fiction, but the unease he leaves behind? That's very real. 2. The Jersey Devil, Season 1, Episode 5. A wild, feral creature living in the woods outside Atlantic City? You might laugh until you realize that locals in New Jersey have been seeing something like that since the 1700s. The episode is named after a real urban legend, the Jersey Devil, a bat-winged, red-eyed monster said to haunt the Pine Barrens. But the writers didn't stop there. They weaved in actual accounts of wild children found throughout history. Feral kids raised in isolation who lived outside civilization, sometimes for years. In the episode, the creature is less monster and more evolutionary throwback. She's not evil, she's surviving, which hits a strange nerve because it blurs the line between folklore and biology. How far removed are we from our primal ancestors? And if the wild still lives in us, what happens when we stop pretending to be civilized? Suddenly those woods behind your house don't feel so empty. 3. Shapes, Season 1, Episode 19. Forget silver bullets. This one's rooted in ancient legend. Shapes takes on the idea of werewolves, but instead of spooky castles and full moons, the show turns to Native American folklore, specifically the legend of Skinwalkers, people who can shift into animals, often as part of spiritual rites or revenge rituals. In the episode, the transformation takes place on a native reservation, and the X-Files team worked with Lakota cultural consultants to keep the story respectful while adding supernatural tension. And the result? A story that feels grounded and eerie all at once. And here's what. Skinwalker sightings aren't just ancient myths. They're still reported today, especially in places like Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. People describe glowing eyes, strange animal-human hybrids, and bizarre disappearances. Werewolves may not be real in the Hollywood sense, but when enough people see something strange in the woods, maybe it's time we stop rolling our eyes. 4. Unusual Suspects, Season 5, Episode 3. This is the episode where Mulder's favorite tinfoil hat crew, the lone gunmen, first join forces. And while the story is full of conspiracies and mind control toothpaste, the real-life inspiration is no joke. The entire episode is a nod to Project MK Ultra, a real CIA program that tested LSD, electroshock, and brainwashing on American citizens without their consent. The government admitted to it in the 1970s, but the full details are still murky. What we know is chilling. People were dosed with hallucinogens in mental hospitals, prisons, and even their own homes, all in the name of research. The X-Files takes this idea and runs with it, suggesting that everyday objects might be weaponized for control. Toothpaste, phone calls, even the mail. It's both funny and deeply paranoid, and that's the point. The best satire is the kind that makes you laugh nervously and wonder what you've already been exposed to. 5. Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose, Season 3, Episode 4. This one is beautiful, haunting, and deeply unsettling. Clyde Bruckman is a tired insurance salesman who can see how people will die. Not when, just how. The concept might seem outlandish, but it echoes real claims from psychic detectives, people who say they've helped solve crimes through visions or feelings. Some of these cases made headlines in the 70s and 80s. While most law enforcement agencies remain skeptical, there are just enough weird coincidences to make you raise an eyebrow. The X-Files episode takes a grounded, almost gentle approach to the idea, focusing not on crime solving, but on the emotional toll of seeing death before it happens. Peter Boyle won an Emmy for the role, and it's easy to see why. It's not about predicting the future, it's about knowing too much. And sometimes, knowing is its own kind of curse. 6. Jose Chung's From Outer Space, Season 3, Episode 20. On the surface, this one's a parody. It is loosely based on one of America's most infamous alien abduction cases, the 1961 account of Betty and Barney Hill. They were a mixed-race couple who reported being taken aboard a spacecraft, examined, and then returned to their car with hours of missing time. Their story became a media sensation and was one of the first to involve hypnosis sessions and eerily consistent descriptions of the Greys. Jose Chung pokes fun at how these stories get twisted through TV, tabloid reporters, and unreliable memory. But the bones of the episode? Still scary, close to what Betty and Barney described. It's funny, until it's not. And that's the genius of it. It makes you laugh, then wonder if you've seen those big black eyes somewhere before. Maybe in a dream you don't quite remember.
Like he's inside my mind, like he's stealing my memory.
7. Dwayne Barry, Season 2, Episode 5. Dwayne Barry is convinced aliens are coming for him, and he's desperate not to be taken again. He's twitchy, unstable, and tragically believable. What makes this episode disturbing is that it reflects real accounts from alleged abductees, especially those who've undergone hypnosis. In fact, the character was partially inspired by Communion, a best-selling book by Whitley Strieber describing his own supposed alien encounters. Strieber's story wasn't unique. Dozens of people began reporting similar experiences: missing time, flashes of light, strange marks on their bodies. Whether you believe in aliens or not, the trauma these people express is genuine, and the show doesn't mock that. Instead, it turns Barry into a tragic figure, a man so convinced of what's happening to him that it tears his life apart. The scariest part? Whether real or imagined, he's still trapped, and no one, alien or otherwise, is coming to save him. 8. Oubliette, Season 3, Episode 8. This one hits on a different level. A teenage girl is kidnapped, and at the same time, across town, a woman who survived a similar ordeal years ago starts feeling everything the girl is going through. It's strange, almost supernatural, but it speaks to something painfully real, how trauma lingers, and sometimes it connects people in ways we can't explain. There's no official record of psychic links like this, but the episode was inspired by real-life child abduction cases, especially the Polly Klaas case, which was unfolding while this was being written. The show approached it carefully. There are no monsters here, no ghosts, just the lasting imprint of human suffering. She doesn't feel what the girl's going through because of some power. She remembers because it happened to her. It came from memory, the kind that refuses to die. And that's what makes this episode so haunting. Sometimes the darkest stories aren't about the supernatural. They're about what people are capable of doing to one another, and how the damage never truly goes away. 9. Humbug, Season 2, Episode 20. At first glance, this one feels like a sideshow circus episode played for laughs, but the backdrop is surprisingly real. Humbug features actual circus performers like the Enigma, playing themselves or versions close to their true lives. And it's set in a place inspired by Gibsonton, Florida, a real town known as the winter home for America's traveling freak shows. The show used this quirky setting to explore what makes someone a monster. Spoiler, it's rarely the person with scales. The villain in Humbug is actually the most normal-looking character of all. It flips expectations in the best way, showing how society labels others based on appearance while ignoring what's really beneath the surface. The real-world performers in the episode weren't just props. They were human, funny, and full of life. It's one of the first times TV ever gave them that space, and the X-Files made it weirdly beautiful.
He's dead. He's dead.
10. Squeeze, Season 1, Episode 3. We started with Toombs, and we're ending with him too, because Squeeze was more than just a creepy monster of the week. It was the moment the X-Files broke free from the standard crime procedural and said, let's get weird. And Toombs? He was born from real fears. His psychology was loosely based on Richard Trenton Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, who believed in drinking blood to survive and broke into homes with terrifying ease. Writers also drew from stories of people with rare metabolic conditions who believed they had to eat strange things to stay alive. Add a dash of urban legend, and you've got Toombs, the guy who eats livers and sleeps in walls. It's still one of the most haunting episodes ever made because it doesn't take much to imagine someone staring at you through a vent. Not a ghost, not an alien, just a human who's not quite right. And just so, X-Files was never the monsters. It was how close they got to real life. From secret experiments to legends people still whisper about, the show blurred the line until it vanished. So next time someone says, it's just a story, ask where it came from. And if you want more strange truths behind your favorite shows, give this video a like and subscribe. We're just getting started.